Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a video that I have seen going around a little bit. It was going around mostly in January, but since I wasn't really here during January that much, I decided that I'm going to do it now. So I'm going to be tier ranking my 2023 reads, all of them. I won't be doing my DNF ones or anything like that because they weren't good enough to finish. So I'm just saying, but I read 114 books in the year of 2023, so we are going to get through all of those today. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be good, and I decided to go with some Nick Miller quotes. So let's go ahead and get into it. So we have our tier list ready based on the Nick Miller quotes. And I switched up the colors a little bit just because I think green is like the best and red is the worst. So the quotes that we have are, "I'm really fighting the urge to buy you a lobster dinner." That is like, you are one of the best books I read last year. I literally am adding you to like my favorites list of all time kind of thing. And then we have, "If you were a hat, you'd be a top hat," but like a really big Monopoly one. And so that one is going to be more of, you know, we really liked you. I would definitely recommend you. You weren't exactly a favorite, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. And then we have one that is a top of tier where it's, okay, I read this and I enjoyed it way more than I thought I would, and it is, "I like getting older. I feel like I'm finally aging into my personality." And then we have one where it was just like a mediocre read. Like, there were good parts and there were parts that I did enjoy, but there were also parts that I didn't, and so it's probably like a 3-star read, and that is "Life sucks, then it gets better, then it sucks again." And then we have books that were like 2-star ratings. I liked literally maybe a few pages of them, maybe a few chapters, but I mostly picked it up for like the cover or something and thought I was going to enjoy it, and I really just did not. And that is 20 pages, and they're all good. Some of them are good. I really like the title. And then we have books that were just the worst thing that I read last year. They were 1-star reads, books that I just did not enjoy, and just I would not recommend. And that is, "Look, we're not trying to be mean. We just don't want you to be yourself in any way." We have all of our books here, and we're just going to scroll through and, you know, put them in the tier. I am not doing this in any specific order. This isn't like the order I read them or anything. These are just all the books that I have. So let's just go ahead and get into it. So here we are going to be talking about "Hear the World Entire," which is a novella, and it's a Medusa retelling. This one really surprised me, and I think I'm going to put it in the "I like getting older. I feel like I'm finally aging into my personality," because this one was more of a literary mythology retelling, but I really enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to. And yeah, I would, you know, recommend that to anyone. The next one is a book that was a horror book, and it is called "The Grip of It." I'm just putting this, you know, when I'm holding them, I'm just putting them in the middle category so I can talk about them. But this one I also really enjoyed. It kind of gave me those haunted house vibes that I wanted, but it also had a deeper meaning. So I think I'm going to put it in the "If you were a hat, you'd be a top hat" tier. The next one we have is a graphic novel called "Be Prepared." This is a middle grade graphic novel. It was super cute, super funny. I actually really love the artwork in it, and yeah, I just was fighting hard not to like keep reading this author, but she doesn't really have that much out anymore, but she is releasing a new graphic novel this year, so I'm also going to put this in the "If you were a hat, you'd be a top hat" category. The next one we have is "My Phony Valentine" by Courtney Walsh. This was a romance that I read, and it was super cute. This was a hockey romance, and she's never done a sports romance before, so I was super excited that she did. And I am putting this in the "I'm really fighting the urge to buy you a lobster dinner" category. It is one of my favorites of all time. It was super sweet, super relatable, and there was One Direction mentions in it, so of course I'm going to do that. And then we have No Exit, which is a thriller book that a lot of people have read, and it was so good. Like, I don't think I saw anything that happened in it coming. My jaw was on the floor for like a lot of it, and it was just super good. Kept me on the edge of my seat, and I'm pretty sure I read this in a few sittings, if not one or two. So I'm putting it in the I'm really fighting the urge to buy you a lobster dinner. And then we have Live and Let Chai, and this one is a cozy mystery. I have recently, you know, been getting into cozy mysteries last year, and I'm going to put this in the I like getting older category, because this one definitely, like, I feel like cozy mysteries are very much, you know, subjected to the older women or older people, but I think that they can be enjoyed by anybody of any age, and I really love that one. And then we have Deep and Dark and Dangerous, which is a middle grade novel that I will always hold dear to my heart. It's one of my first books that I recall reading when I was younger, and it just was the best. So it's going in the I'm really fighting the urge to buy you a lobster dinner. And then we had Love Light Farms. This was my first B.K. Borison book that I tried, and it did not disappoint at all. I actually really loved Love Light Farms. I thought it had the perfect amount of like romance and plot and spice in it. So I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I will definitely be getting to the rest of the series. So this one is going into the second tier. The next one is Nisekoi, which is a manga. This is the first in a manga series. I believe it's called Nisekoi False Love. I don't really remember that much about it. I'm gonna put it in this, probably this third category of life sucks, then it gets better, then it sucks again. I don't think this one pulled me in all the way. I think sometimes I struggle with slice of life mangas just because I enjoy them, but I definitely like having a more fantasy type element added to my mangas. But again, it wasn't the worst manga or anything that I've ever read, so it's just going in my mediocre category. Then we have the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. I loved this one. I thought it was so good. Grady Hendrix still remains one of my favorite authors of comedic horror, and he's just literally the best. So that's gonna go, if you were a hat, you'd be a top hat. Then we have Assistant to the Villain. I loved this book. It actually was my favorite read of last year, so we can already go ahead and put it at the top tier. It was just so good. It literally blew my mind. I didn't think that I was going to love like cozy fantasy as much as I did, but I really lived in my cozy fantasy era last year, and I am continuing to do that this year in my reading. And then we had The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. I read this in literally one sitting. She very much reminds me of Emily Henry, Abby Jimenez, Courtney Walsh, like those romance authors that I just know that I love because they have that added plot that comes with their books, and the romance is not always the first thing that you are looking for. This one definitely has more of a plot and relationships where the female main character is trying to work things out with her dad and not just, you know, find love. So this one is gonna go in the top tier. The next one I have is The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. Literally, this book was so good. I read it at the perfect time in summer. It kind of felt like I was back at summer camp. I really didn't know what was going on for a while. I think I predicted a few things in this book, but for the most part, it was Riley Sager. I love his writing, and he will always be a Monopoly hat, in my opinion. Then I had Every Heart a Doorway by Shannon McGuire. This one was really good. I actually liked it. Probably more than I thought when I started it. So I'm going to put it in the I like getting older category. It is not normally something I would probably read. It's a series of novellas, but I actually really enjoyed it and was really happy that I read it. And then we have Green Glass House, and this is a middle grade book that I read in the winter time, which was the perfect time to read it. And this one was super cute. It had a lot of deep subjects about adoption and just for kids who don't who don't or aren't around their biological parents. This one was very hard hitting. I thought it was really well done. It had the mystery element, the Christmas snowy element, and it was just so cute. So it will be going in my second category. And then we had Ghosts, which is going to be staying in the Life Sucks Then It Gets Better, Then It Sucks Again category. I really enjoyed this one. I think it was very hard hitting. I really loved the story of the sister having like a chronic illness in this book, but it was lacking a little bit of something for me. I don't know exactly what. I still really enjoyed it, and I would probably read it again. And then we have A House at the Bottom of a Lake. This was a small horror novella by Josh Malerman that I read, and it was okay. I'm gonna probably put it in the 20 pages, and they're all good, but only some of them are good. I really liked the scary horror elements of actually being at the bottom of a lake, because that was terrifying to me, but it kind of felt like it was lacking a lot just because Josh Malerman kept going back to the couple, the teenagers that were like exploring with each other and stuff, and they were like, it was very sexual for a horror novella, and I just wasn't feeling it. Then we have Aquacorn Cove, which is probably going to stay in this fourth category here. I enjoyed it. I really loved the artwork more than I loved or liked the story. I thought it was really cute. It just, you know, was okay. Then we have The Bone Houses, which is going to be going in my I'm really fighting the urge to buy you a lobster dinner category. I picked this one up a long time ago when it first came out, and I couldn't get into it, and then my friend Olivia loved this book and convinced me to read it, and I love it now. It is like one of my favorite books of all time. It is so unique and so different, and there's so many good moral lessons in the book, and you also have fantasy elements and, you know, hidden secrets. It was really, really good and really well done. Then we have The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by John Mark Comer. This one is also going to go in my top category. It is a Christian inspiration book that I read last year, and this one is probably the book that I have quoted or that has stuck with me the most. It definitely made me appreciate life more and just slow down and think about, you know, what I can and can't enjoy and what I allow myself to do. So it was really, really good. And then we had Dancing at the Pity Party. I'm going to put this one in my unexpectedly liked category. This was a graphic novel, and it's a memoir told in a graphic novel format, and it talks a lot about grief and this girl going through the death of her mom and how she copes, and it was just really, really good to read. I feel like I would probably buy this and keep it around for if that ever happened or when that time came. If I lost a parent, I would definitely think that reading that book would help me learn how to cope with that kind of thing. And then we have Sheets, which was so good. It will be going in my fourth category. I loved the graphics of it. I loved the artwork, and I really enjoyed the story as well. And then we have The Invited, which is going to be going into this mediocre category. I really love Jennifer McMahon's writing, and I love that she was including multiple POVs and different things like that. And I did think that this one had like it was a good storyline, but it just did not pull me in enough like her other books have. And then we have Shadow's House, which I am going to put in it's hard because I did really enjoy this one, but I don't know if it like should go up here in the Monopoly category or not, just because I'm going to put it there just because the artwork was stunning and I really did like the storyline of it. I just feel like it was a good introduction manga in the first of a series, so I need to read the rest. And then we have Seance Tea Party, which will also be going in this category. It's a graphic novel, and it was really cute. The artwork was phenomenal. It had a really good story to it, and it's just one that I will remember reading for a while. And then we have another Riley Sager, Lock Every Door, which is also going to be going in this Life Sucks category. I liked this one. Again, I just really enjoy Riley Sager's writing every time I read a book by him, but this one just did not pull me in like I would normally be pulled in. I felt like it was missing something. It just was not as spooky to me, and I don't know, I predicted the ending as well, so that was probably why. And then we have The Girl in the Glim, which is another graphic novel. I read a lot of graphic novels last year, you guys. And this will be going in the second category. It was really, really good. The artwork was stunning, and I just love the storyline. It's definitely one that is like a graphic novel series that I want to continue. And if you think I'm putting Sarah J. Maas anywhere but the top, you guys don't know what's coming, because all of her books will always be in the I'm really fighting the urge to buy you a lobster dinner, because I literally am. I'm fighting the urge to buy all of the characters, and Sarah J. Maas herself a lobster dinner, because who doesn't love House of Sky and Breath? And then we have The Mother-in-Law, which I'm putting in the I Like Getting Older category. This was a suspenseful drama that I read by Sally Hepworth, and I feel like it's not one that I would normally go for, just because of the premise, but it really made me think a little bit about the future, like what I would do if this kind of thing was happening with my mother-in-law, and just different things. And it was a super good read, and I just really thoroughly enjoyed it. And then we have Cody, which I'm gonna put down here just because I think it was cute, but it really felt more kiddish than it let on, and the artwork style wasn't my favorite, and I literally don't remember that much about it, so it's gonna stay down there. Then we have Lightfall, which will be going at the top category. It's another graphic novel series by Tim Probert, and I love it. I have yet to get to the second one, but the artwork style, beautiful. It's just literally everything. It has fantasy elements, creatures like that are fantasy based. Yeah. And then we have the Wayward Husband series that is in the manga, or The Way of the House Husband. I don't know why I said the Wayward Husband. But it's going up here in the top hat category. I really enjoyed this one. It was a slice of life, but it's funny and it's cute, and it is just a series I want to continue. And then we have The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez. This will also be going in my top category. This was a hard-hitting romance book, and there were things in it that made me cry, that made me laugh, that made me smile, that made me angry. It was just, I felt like I went through every emotion known to man. Then we have Killer Chardonnay, which is going to be going in the Getting Older category. This is another cozy mystery that I found myself really enjoying. Probably all of the cozy mysteries that I thought that I enjoyed are going to go in this category, because I didn't expect to like them as much as I did. And then we have The Turn of the Key, which will be going in Life Sucks. And I know that's kind of strange, but I really enjoyed Ruth Ware's writing style, but I don't know why. The more I thought about it, the more I was just not, like, the story kind of drug on, and it felt like things were happening, but I had a feeling of what was going on. And so I think I also predicted the ending of that one. So I was just, yeah, not feeling it. Another book is Get Out of Your Head by Jenny Allen. This one is going to be going in my top hat category. This one I still think about daily. I really want to reread it, and I think it would get moved up to the very top just because I listened to it and I want to physically read it, and that way I would probably pay a little bit more attention to it. But it was still so good. I absolutely loved it, and she can do no wrong in my opinion. We have Spy Family Volume 2, which will be going up at the top. This one gave me more insight into what is going on in the book, and I just love every character. I love the aspect of it. I love Anya so much, and yeah, it will never do wrong. Honestly, I was going to put this one in the 20 pages, but I'm going to put this at the very bottom. This one is in the look, we're not trying to be mean, we just don't want you to be yourself in any way. And this is A Gift for a Ghost, which is a graphic novel, and I could not tell you anything that happened in this book. I was so confused the entire time. I did not understand what was going on. I just did not enjoy it. And then we're going to be doing Clown in a Cornfield, which I'm putting right here in the second category. It was a shock to me that I really liked that one, but I am so glad that I did. It was super good, I get kind of worried about slasher horror books. I'm not a huge fan of them, but this one was done so well, especially for a young adult one, that I just loved it. And this one is actually going to be going at the very top. This is The Obsession by Jessie Sutanto. And she normally writes cozy mysteries or mystery thriller books. And this one is a YA thriller, and it was insane. There were things going on that I did not expect at all. And yeah, it still blows my mind. And then we have another Jennifer McMahon, which is The Drowning Kind, which will be going at the very top as well. This is probably my favorite of hers of all time. I think since it had the water element, it definitely scared me more than her other books. So this is the reigning champ to beat. And then we have What Lives in the Woods by Lindsay Curry, which will also be up in this second category. It was so good. There were so many red herrings in this book, and it was just, I had never felt like I related more to a like 12-year-old girl than this girl, and it was just super fun and reminded me a lot of why I love reading in the first place. And then we have Savior's Book Cafe from Another World, which is a manga series, and it will be going in this second category. Again, thoroughly loved the artwork, thoroughly loved the story, and it has that fantasy element that I like as well. And then we have Summer's Edge. This one is going in one of my favorite reads of all time, especially for last year. This is a thriller, young adult thriller that happens in the summer, and it blew my mind. I was not expecting anything that happened in this one, and it kept me on the edge of my seat. I'm pretty sure I read it in like 2 or 3 sittings, so I knew I was going to love it. Then we have Better Than the Movies, which is going to be going in my second category. I almost want to put it in my favorite of all times, just because it was really good. It was really well done for a young adult book. I'm not huge into young adult fiction as much as I am into young adult fantasy, but if every young adult fiction was like this one, I would love them all. And then we have Book Lovers, which is going to go in this category. I know it's Emily Henry, and I absolutely love that one, but out of all of the books that she has written, that one is probably my least favorite. I know a lot of people love that one, but I just felt like I could not relate to the main character as much as I normally can. And then we have Jeanette McCurdy. This is going to be going into my like getting older, because I normally do not pick up memoirs or anything, but the fact of that I grew up watching Jeanette McCurdy and watching like iCarly and stuff, and not knowing a lot of what she went through, and then picking this up and learning what she went through was very eye-opening for me, and it made me want to read more memoirs about people to like give me more insight into their lives. And we have Tide Song, which will be going into this category as well. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was beautifully written. I love the fantasy elements. Again, the artwork is gorgeous. It's probably one of my favorite graphic novels. Then we had Constantine, which is another graphic novel series. It's a DC Inc. graphic novel, and normally I would like these, but this one was just not it for me. I really like the cover. I love the cover of it. I really like the artwork, but the storyline was just not pulling me in at all. Then we have In the Land of Leodol, that I'm going to put probably in the Life Sucks Then It Gets Better category. I really like the art style of this one. The storyline is okay. It's not my favorite, but it is enough for me to want to continue the series to see how it plays out. And then we have Enola Holmes, which will also be going in this category at the top on the second row. This one is like supposed to be the first 3 novels all packed into a graphic novel, and I just love Enola Holmes. I also really was surprisingly enjoying the artwork in this one, and I didn't think I would, but it was super cute, and I just love Enola and her story and all the antics she gets up to. I'm putting Comfort Me with Apples in this bottom category, and we're not even going to talk about it. It's just probably one of the worst books I've ever read. And then we have The Dead Romantics, which will be going in the top category. It was really good. A friend of mine named Keely, over at Vampire Keely, she recently read A 7-Year Slip, and she talked about The Dead Romantics, and she just talked about, like, these are not romance books. These are books on grief and different topics, but you are also getting that romantic element to it. And it's just so good. It's almost kind of like magical realism meets like deeper subjects, but the plots are just amazing in these books by her, and I cannot wait to read more. Then we have Sourceline, which will also be going in the second category. Again, I really love that this one is fantasy. The artwork was stunning. The story is great, and I can't wait to read the second one. Then we have another Grady Hendrix, which is How to Sell a Haunted House. It will be going in the second category as well. Really thoroughly loved this one. I thought it was spooky. It scared the crap out of me. And yeah, Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney will also be going in that category. That book was wild. I read it in 2 or 3 sittings, and I just did not know what was happening. I definitely could not call the ending from... I could have been, you know, standing right in front of it, and I never would have guessed it. So it's definitely a thriller that you need to read if you haven't already. The next one is Robin, which is the I think it's the 4th book in the graphic novel series of Teen Titans. It's a young adult graphic novel series, and it's one of my favorites of all time. I really love the Teen Titans, and I also really love that the artwork by Gabriel Piccolo is just amazing. Another one is Belladonna, which is going in the top category as well. I thought this was going to be like any other YA fantasy book, and so I didn't have like too much that I was looking forward to going into it. I wasn't expecting anything different than what I've read before, but it was so good, and there were twists thrown in there that I was not expecting. So it has to go in that top category. And then we have Anatomy, a love story by Dana Schwartz. It will be going in the second category. I enjoyed this one. I loved the aspect of like spookiness that was added into it. And we also had a lot of obviously like anatomy mixed in with that. And I was taking anatomy at the time that I read it, and it was just made it more eerie and made it more fun to read. Then we have Another Kind, which will also be going in this category. It is a graphic novel, and it kind of gave me Stranger Things vibes, but all of the creatures were, or all of the people that were in the book were like 11. They all had their own set of magical powers being kept away from society, and so when they venture out, they do it together. And it was just super sweet, and I loved it. Then we have The Lost Apothecary, which I will also be putting in this category. Actually, we're going to move The Lost Apothecary down to I Like Getting Older, because this is probably a book that I never would have picked up on my own. But the fact that I heard about this from friends and actually picked it up and enjoyed it, it has to stay in there. And then we have Garlic and the Witch. I'm going to put this down here. I loved Garlic and the Vampire a lot. Garlic and the Witch was not my favorite. The storyline just was a little different, and I just didn't find myself enjoying it as much as the first one. Then we have The Ballad of Never After, which will be going in the top category. Stephanie Garber never fails to make me excited for a young adult fantasy book. She also never ceases to surprise me in what she writes. I feel like she always ends up with twists that I never saw coming, and I just am baffled that this book exists. Then we have Hollow, which I'm going to put down here with Constantine. This is another graphic novel that I read, and I really loved the artwork, and I like the aspect that it was, you know, the legend of Sleepy Hollow, but it just didn't pull me in as much as I wanted to. I think I originally rated this one pretty high, but after sitting on it for a while, I just don't care for it that much. Then we have Killers of a Certain Age, which I will be putting into the Life Sucks category. I thought I was going to enjoy this one more than I did, and I didn't. And that did surprise me. I think that I was so shocked that I didn't enjoy it as much, but there were just certain things, it just felt lacking to me, but there were a lot of moments that I did enjoy and thought were funny and cute and mysterious. Then we have Good Boundaries and Goodbye, which is another Christian inspiration book I read. It's going to be going in the If You Were a Hat category. This one was a book that I read at a time that I really needed it. I am a bad people pleaser, so sometimes it's hard for me to set boundaries and to walk away from friendships or to walk away from any kind of relationship that is hurting me or putting me in a tight or bad spot. And so reading this and getting advice on how to set boundaries or when to know when to say goodbye to somebody, this was a great one, and it's something that I will remember for a very long time. And then we have Happy Place by Emily Henry. This one is also going to go where Book Lovers is. This is probably my second to last favorite. I really loved Happy Place, but it also just, I don't know, it's not exactly top for me. But I really loved the friendship aspect that was in Happy Place the most. And it also had anxiety representation, which I really appreciated and loved. And then we have Cackle, which will be going in my top category, by Rachel Harrison. This was another book where I discovered that I actually really like this author, and I love comedic horror once again. This one was also kind of like cozy fantasy meets comedy meets horror, in my opinion. And I just, yeah, I will probably reread this at some point just because I really enjoyed it. And then we have Unfamiliar, which will be going in the second category. I really like the art style. I love the storyline, and it has me wanting to read all of the series when she puts them out. And it's just super cute. A super cute witchy graphic novel. And then we have My Roommate is a Vampire, which I want to put in the I'm really fighting the urge to buy you a lobster dinner, because I am. But I'm putting it in the I like getting older category, because I do read romance books, but they're not the first thing that I read or want to read. And this one surprised me with how much I actually liked it. I was a little nervous going into it because I did know that it was a modern day romance book, and sometimes that pulls me out of it because they can, include things like, I don't know, I just don't like real day things added to my books. Like, I don't mind knowing that TikTok or Instagram or anything like that exists, but when books bring that up, it makes me nervous because I just am like, I don't care. I don't want to hear about that. I want to hear about your romance and about like what's going on in your life. And this one had a little bit of that, but it didn't bother me as much as it usually does. Then we have Lore Olympus Volume 3. This will be going at the top. This was probably my favorite of the series so far. It is the last one I've read, though. I have not read 4 or 5 yet, so I need to get on to that. But it was super good. It's probably one of my favorite graphic novel series of all time. And then we have The Quiet Tenant, which I also want to put up at the top, but I'm going to put in the I like getting older category because, again, this is not a book that I feel like I would normally pick up, but I heard really good things about it, and I picked it up, and it was phenomenal. It is such a hard topic, and it was so good. The writing was amazing. It felt like a thriller, but it also felt like a hard-hitting memoir in a way. It's not a memoir, but that's how it felt. Like, it felt like this was somebody's actual life. I hate to do this to House of Roots and Ruin because it's Aaron A. Craig, but it's going to be going in the Life Sucks category. This was really sad for me because I absolutely love House of Salt and Sorrow, and it is probably in one of my favorite books of all time. And this one, I just didn't feel it. I loved Verity. I really do. I love her story. I love who she is, but there were things in this book that I was just like, why is this here? What is going on? And it ruined part of the book for me, so it had to go there. And then we have Divine Rivals, which, anybody shocked, it will be going to the very top because this book was amazing. I absolutely love it. I have nothing but good things to say. Like, there's nothing about this series that I have beef with at all. And then we have The Soulmate, which I'm going to put in the Life Sucks and It Gets Better category. I really love Sally Hepworth's work, and I believe that I rated this 4 stars. Like, it's still really good to me, but compared to like the other ones I've read by her, this is one that I don't remember as much of reading. Then we have When in Rome, which I'll be putting in the top hat category. This was my first Sarah Adams book that I read, and it sold me on buying a few more from her. I actually really enjoyed this one. I can't put it up here yet because it's not a favorite of all time, but it was so, so good. And yeah, I just absolutely love her. Then we have Vera Wong, which I will put in the I Like Getting Older category. I did enjoy this one, not as much as I wanted to, but I don't think I would ever picture myself reading from the perspective of like an elderly woman and enjoying it as much as I did. And it was just so good. So good. So cute. Then we have The Serpent and the Wings of Night, which I'm going to put at the very top. This one was a vampire fantasy. I feel like everybody has read it. It's romantasy, and I just really, really enjoyed it. It had twists that I was not expecting, and yeah, it was just so good. Then we have The Tunnel to Summer, which is a manga, and I'm going to put it down here in the 20 pages. It was okay. It was okay. It's not the worst thing I've ever read, but it just was not one that I feel the need to continue. And then we have Flower Heart, which is going to go in this Life Sucks category. We might put it down here at the 20 pages. I love the cover of this one. I loved the magical aspect and the cozy vibes, but it was just not, it just felt like it was lacking a lot of plot. I could not tell you a lot that happened in it either. Looking Glass Sound, I want to put you down here, kind of, but I'm going to put it here. I liked some of this. I liked the writing and the way it was written, but I did not enjoy this one as much. I really just didn't care. Fourth Wing, you guys already know, is going up at the top. I love dragons. I love Fourth Wing, and no matter what anybody says, I love it. And then we have Starling House, which I'm going to put in the I Like Getting Older category. This is something that I would normally pick up, but I didn't expect to love it as much as I did. I want to buy it a lobster dinner, but I still want it to be in the Getting Older category. And then we have The Pram. The Pram was pretty good. I'm going to put it in up here in the top hat category. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to go ahead and grab the rest of these. This was part of the Creature Feature series on Amazon Prime that was available for Kindle Unlimited and for Amazon Prime users, and it was really good. And then we had The Best of Luck by Jason Mott, and I am going to put it up here with The Pram. It almost goes into the top category, but I don't know. It was really, really good, and I really want to pick up more of his work now because of that novella. And then we have Ankle Snatcher by Grady Hendrix. This one had the potential to be up here, but it is going to be in the Life Sucks category. I really enjoyed it. It just wasn't as good as the rest of them. Then we had In Bloom by Paul Tremblay. You are going down here in the last category because it was a struggle to read however many pages were in that one. And I know it was less than 50. It was a struggle to read less than 50 pages in a book because it was boring, there was nothing going on, and I just actually hated it. Then we had It Waits in the Woods by Josh Malerman, and that one is definitely going to go with the rest of them in the top hat category because that was terrifying. There was a part, especially in the audiobook, that the narrator did a creepy voice, and I remember I paused the voice really quickly. I got chills, and I was looking around the room because it felt like someone was in the room with me, and it felt like it was that creepy monster. So well done. And then Chandler Baker's Big Bad will also be going up there because I found it really enjoyable. Well, actually, we're going to put it down here with the Grady Hendrix because I feel like out of all of them, these three were my favorites, and those two were like good but could have been better, and then Paul Tremblay's was just bad. The Wishing Game is going to go in the I Like Getting Older category. It was so good. I feel like this is not one that I would normally pick up, but I picked it up for Liv's Patreon book club, and it was amazing. There were so many good things about this book. It was just like, I don't know, it's a hard-hitting book, and it kind of reminds me of how I would feel when I read Narnia, or Harry Potter, because it has that child element, but it's just, if you haven't read it, you need to. I don't want to give too much away. And then I read, I read all of Throne of Glass last year, so let's just go ahead and do those. They will all be put up in the top category because there was not one that I did not love and that I did not absolutely devour, and I just am sad that they're over and that I have nothing left to read of Sarah J Maas that is new. So all of the Throne of Glass series is up there. I love them all. Kingdom of Ash is probably my favorite, along with Heir of Fire, but I love them all. Then we have the September House, which is going in my I'm really fighting the urge to buy you a lobster dinner category. It was amazing. I loved this one way more than I thought, so I could put it in the I Like Getting Older category because, again, this is a horror book that I probably wasn't expecting to like as much as I did, but the fact that I absolutely loved it was just the best. And then we have The Happy Life of Isadora Bentley. I'm going to put this one in this middle category. This one was not one of my favorites by Courtney Walsh, but I really did enjoy it, and I felt like I could relate to the main character, and it was really nice. It was really good, but it just had some over-the-top moments, or just some moments that I didn't vibe with completely. And then we have Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez, which will be going in this top category because this book had the best anxiety representation I have ever seen in a book. It was so well done, and the romance and the backstories, I love it. I can't fault it at all. Then we have Smile Beach Murder, which I will also put in the I Like Getting Older category. Again, this is a cozy mystery, and it's one of my favorites ever. It's probably my favorite cozy mystery that I've read so far, and it was just so good. It was so good. And then we have Unfamiliar 2, which will be going, we'll put it right beside over here, right beside the first one, because this one was just as good as this one, and it made me even more excited for the third one. The only one left. I gave this 5 stars. I absolutely loved it, but I kind of want to put it in this category because the more I have sat on it, the more I was like, Riley, Mr. Sager, you're doing a little too much. There was so much that happened, and I liked it, but like, wow, you know what? No. I have to put it up here because it was good. It was so good. The Unmaking of June Farrow is probably my second favorite book to Assistant to the Villain that I read last year. Absolutely loved it. Wanted to pick it up and reread it as soon as I finished. It was, oh my gosh, mystery elements, magical science fiction elements, romance. It was everything I needed and more. The Library of Shadows, I'm going to put this in the top hat category. I really enjoyed this one. It was like, well, yeah, I might put it down here just because it was really good and I did enjoy it, and it kind of felt like young adult cozy fantasy, if that was a thing, and I did like the school aspect, but there were a lot of things that I felt like could have been done better writing wise, and this is this author's debut, so I'm not going to trash this book because it was really good and I did thoroughly enjoy it, but compared to everything else I've read, it wasn't my favorite. Then we had Bring Me Your Midnight, which I'll put in the top hat category. This was my first Rachel Griffin book that I read, and I loved it. It was really, really good. The way she writes is just so magnetic, and her setting, phenomenal. Then we have The Kingdom of Sweets. I really do want to leave you down there. I am. I'm going to leave it down there. I think I gave it 2 or 3 stars, but honestly, I kind of wish I never read it. Then we have The Secret Saint, A Tale of the Secret Saint. This is probably going to go in my mediocre category. I might continue the rest of this manga series, but I highly doubt it. I do have it, but it just, I don't know. We're going to try it again and see, but it's not very memorable for me. Then we have Heartstopper, which was really cute. It's going to be going in this second category as well. I love the artwork, I love the story, and I need to watch the show. I need to continue the series. It's just so good. This was a great, like, introduction graphic novel into the rest of what I can see the series being. Then we had Little Witches, which I'm gonna put at the 20 pages. Well, I'm gonna put it down here. I didn't like it the best. The sister, it didn't remind me that much of Little Women besides them having the same names. The magic was kind of weird, and I didn't love the artwork. Then we have The Gray Shear, which is going to go in the second category as well. It was so good, and the ending pissed me off so much. That is why it's going down here, because I just cannot in good conscience put you in the top category when you did that to me at the end. I understand why, but rude. Crime and Poetry. I feel like we put enough cozy mysteries in this. I was surprised that I liked this one as much, but it's going in my top because this is one of my favorites, and I just immediately wanted to binge the rest of the series. And the last book we have is Daughter of the Pirate King. This is going to be going in this second category of the top hat. So good. Actually, really thoroughly loved it, and yeah, I thought it was well done. I can't complain at all, and yeah, it made me really excited for the rest of the series, and I just love pirates, so it was never going to get below a 4-star. So that is all of my tier rankings. So we had the most in the second category. Then we had a lot of books. Like, I don't read a lot that I don't enjoy. There may be some that were just okay, but for the most part, I feel like I read and pick up a lot of books that I really like. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. It's definitely different than what I normally do. I'm trying to do more videos of where I just do what I want to and have fun with what I'm filming. So I thought this would be a fun category, especially since I didn't really get to wrap up my 2023 after being sick in January and the end of December. So I appreciate you guys for sticking around and watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.